Good morning, guys. This is Richard back at you. We've got a beautiful morning going on this morning. We've got John's 69 Plymouth Valiant in the house. I mean, it's a beautiful car. All out drag race, big tires. We've got a really neat video. He showed us of it, you know, yanking the wheels off the ground and all that type of stuff. Small block, all stroked out and stuff. Really, really nice car. It's got a 904 tranny in it. You don't see that very much. You know, something with that kind of power, you'd think that it would have a small block, a 727 in it. That way, all the gear train and stuff like that, it's kind of like the same that's in the Dodge diesels and stuff like that. Bigger clutches, bigger bands and everything. But when they go to this smaller unit, they have less rotating mass and stuff like that. You can actually get better ETs, stuff like that, and that's why they physically put the smaller unit in it. And they just try to build it as best they can, and if it goes out, they just pay the bill. So that's how they kind of do that. But you can see here, this little bitty torque converter, how they got the ring welded to it here. Pretty neat. Little bitty. If you look here, the hub is just really tiny compared to a 48RE or 727. Same way here, the input shaft is real tiny. Now this, he went to the races up in Dallas. Enos, I believe, somewhere in there, and it started leaking out of the front seal. So now this to me is a really, really cheap seal. We haven't got our parts in this morning yet for this unit, but to me this is a really cheap seal. The hub does look pretty good though. I mean, I don't see no cracks. A lot of times they'll crack right here and then kind of tear and go towards the bushing like that, but I don't see no cracks. Looks like we can probably polish that up and still use that there.
Nice.
Just looks like it's got a single billet cover here, but nothing on the back. See, normally on a trans brake application, you'd have a billet cover here and a billet cover back. But excuse me, Trent, what was you going to say?
No, I was just trying to see what company it was. I couldn't remember.
PTC.
Nice.
PTC, yeah. Oh, we don't have our air turned on, son. We are airless.
We're airless this morning. Hey, I was
That does help. Actually, we got to kick the air compressor on too and get it going. Won't take but just a second. We got a big old Quincy air compressor back there that'll just kick it up really quick.
Sorry guys, I tried to get him to use his electrics. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. But you can see here we have a scatter shield. It looks like it's kind of been flared out a little bit. Looks like this will fit a 727 and possibly a 904 too. It'll fit two different trannies. Just keeps the internals inside. If it ever blows through the case, it won't come through the floorboard. Go out the windshield and stuff like that. There's actually a video of a car out there. The torque or the drum come apart inside. Went through the floorboard and out the passenger side door. I mean, it's got a hole that big in the door. So, like I said, you get more rotating mass with a 727, but they do make aluminum drums for those trannies too to lighten up that high gear drum. Look at that. Already getting some air pressure. Just a hard piece of billet. Looks like it's a TCI, really old school.
They work.
Yes, sir. Let me get me a. Excuse me. Now, if you notice here, looks like he's got a temp sensor here, maybe a temp sensor here. This one wasn't hooked up, but this one was. But it looks like to me he's got his trans brake wire going through the neutral safety switch here. Our lever here, we got our band adjustment there.
Oh, look at the, see how much slop is in that shaft?
Oh yeah, those are bad about that actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's going to leak out of the seal or not, as long as you put a good new seal in there, so that should be fine. But actually it can leak there, see, or move there. Leak around the seal, but it's not leaking.
Nope.
Looks pretty good.
Nice.
Anytime you see these old single mounts like this single stud, you can tell that's some ancient stuff. Then over here we have this cover here to get to the snap ring that releases a support bearing back here in the back. The Dodge diesels and stuff have them up on the top of the overdrive section.
They just added a couple things and put it on top.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept.
See the snap ring in here?
Yes, sir.
We normally don't see wear in the snap ring groove on these units here, like you do the Dodge diesels. And His tranny's so light though. That's another big difference too. But in the 727, I'm not sure the power gain or loss either direction from the two units. Kind of like a Power Glide and a 400. There's definitely difference in power loss going through the unit. Of course, Sonex just come out with that new drum and stuff for the 400 that they just took all the rotating mass and just moved it all to the center, and it's supposed to be really impressive. Got a lot of trash down in here a little bit. Looks like
You opened that bad boy.
yeah. Looks like something here kind of beat on the governor a little bit. Look at that. I don't know what that could have.
Huh?
Any bolts missing?
No, sir.
Now this unit here shouldn't even be using the governor. It could be just here as a dummy, and then the valve bite itself could be plugged, because if this is a transbrake fully manual, this isn't working anymore. So.
I'm still amazed, probably till the end of time. That shaft is no bigger than our thumb. You're pushing a 700-800 horsepower
down the road
big
with
tire. No
Yeah.
problem.
And that is impressive, huh?
Very impressive. Very impressive.
And that doesn't even look like a billet shaft.
No, it doesn't.
It looks just like a stock shaft.
No, it doesn't. And this goes to all cars.
Yeah.
You know, the output of cars is just so amazing. They're no bigger than half your thumbs. And they don't pop. They don't have a lot.
Yep. We got some,
Do a mix match. Right?
yeah, we got some splines stripped over here too. We're gonna have to helicoil probably.
One more in the corner.
Is there?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Yep.
Oh, you're good.
Two studs in there makes it.
Yeah.
You ready? Let's see what,
Ready.
see what we got here.
Whoa.
I think I can almost smell that one.
Yeah, that's
Now he said he lost high gear, wasn't working good, and it started leaking out the front. So I'm sure it cooked a few things in here. Probably the high gear drum. Forward clutches, there's no telling. But this does not look very good. Definitely.
and you need to come up with smell-o-vision or something.
Now if you notice here, the neutral safety switch wire must have been for starting the vehicle, no trans brake, and the switch coming to the top here goes to the trans brake solenoid in here. So I'm gonna turn it a little bit. It was this switch right here is for your trans brake. This here so it'll start in park and neutral.
Nice.
So they are still using the neutral safety switch. So
Cool.
can you read that? It's upside down. Now, I've always haven't talked about this to anybody else, but Cody yesterday, I was telling him about it, that these valve bodies, when you buy them, they'll fit a 727 or a 904.
Oh, yes.
And the only difference, if you notice here, look down in here, that one bolt is off to the side. If the factory valve body, this will be oblong like this, so you can get a bolt here or here. And the difference is in the plate itself. They didn't move the hole over for a 904 or 727, so they oblong the valve body. So if you had a 904, it went to the left. You had a 727, the bolt hole in the plate was to the right. So this one right here, actually, if you look at it, if I bolted it to a 727, it would bolt right in. But on a 904, you see the hole in the bolt in the case is over to the side.
Yes, sir.
But it was still interchanging work.
Nice.
There's no difference in the valve bodies other than that.
I got you.
Got a nice screen here for a filter. Just kind of look at it and make sure it's not cracked or anything anywhere.
Looks really nice. Don't look ripped or nothing.
Yeah, these are really hard filters to come by right now. So if it's, you can see here, they'll start pulling on the edges right here. Almost you'd think this it starts shrinking. Come on, get out of there.
What's funny is I love how back in the day they used flathead screws
I know, huh?
for the valve bodies versus your
I mean-
regular 8mm, 10mm.
Mm-hmm. It kind of makes you wonder too, why do we have a gasket here and not one here? It really don't make no sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't you have rather it the other way?
Well, I'd rather it both ways.
Both ways, yeah.
If you think about it, this is above fluid, probably.
Yes.
This is below fluid.
Yes.
So if it's going to suck air, it's going to suck air here, not so much here.
Yes, sir.
You know. So you think that there would be a gasket from aluminum to aluminum too, but you want to look here. A lot of times these filters will pull out on the edges. You can see it trying to do it right here. See how it looks like it's shrinking?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can push it back in there and just take pliers and crimp that back down. Because these are really good filters.
Nice.
Trans brake wire just unlocks or pulls off there. Golly, there ain't much of that valve body left.
No. That's cool.
The pressure bending that thing.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy how much it's bending that? A lot of times on these though, we take a bolt and block this up. The valve body will come with its own spacer that lifts this intermediate piston, probably this accumulator piston.
Right, and just block the accumulation.
And it puts it all the way against that right there like that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, it doesn't move at all. See, I don't know why that doesn't have that in there. We'll put it back in there. I'll make something and put that in there and stand that up. You want to stand it up just enough though where it's touching.
Nice.
You don't want to hold the valve body up off this at all with this piston when you.
Yes, sir.
But you can use a pin, a differential pin or anything like that to cut it and do it. But it'll work. But you can look at this factory valve body, how much is missing. All the valve body's gone over here. You can see they did some welding, cut the factory valve body apart. Actually, the whole TV valve, there's the TV, it's totally gone.
Nope,
It's not even in there no more
like
for your
blocked.
lever. See?
Oh, wow.
It's just plugging the hole.
Oh, yep.
See? It's your manual valve, and then you have your trans brake solenoid here.
Really cool.
Really neat.
Yeah, very neat.
Mm-hmm. Got your intermediate band here. Lever. I'll put a little air in there, kind of see what
Hold on, guys. Let me get my raincoat on.
there we go. Because we do have fluid in this right here, so it's going to do something. Okay.
Oh, you're good. Go for it.
Then we have our reverse band here.
Hope you're good. Otherwise,
You can see how it moves.
yes, sir. Nice.
Then we have trying to find some clutches. I think they're all towards this end right here.
Almost sounds like it. Sounds like it's gone.
See how hear that leak?
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna find possibly a cut seal or something in there even.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. See, once the clutches wear, it'll just blow the piston out.
Correct.
We got our band adjustment nut. Now on these here, we only have one anchor, I guess, or then on 727 they have another one here, but this one here, that pin comes all the way through and touches the band instead of having another one of these over on this side.
Nice.
So you have two. It's a double wrap band. Instead of one band going all the way around, it's a double wrap. 3 wraps, we're going to call it, but looks like 3, but we call it a double wrap. You can see the vent here on these transmissions, the physical vent for the tranny is up here in the pump. This little hole right here. So if you boil the fluid or anything like that, get the tranny hot, this is where the fluid's going to come out at. If we do a 4-wheel drive unit, and we know that they're going to get in the mud or water, we'll physically tap this hole and plug it, and then we'll come on the top of the case right here and drill in there, and we'll add a fitting there, and we'll run a hose all the way up to the brake booster, up to the top, put a vent up top there, that way they can submerge the tranny in water and it won't get any water in it. You know what's crazy is we went to Jasper's and we watched Jasper's submerge their transmissions in water. Then they pressurize them and look for any type of leaks.
Yep, I remember that.
You remember that trend?
All of them.
Every unit they do, they submerge in water, and then they pressurize them and they look for any type of bubbles or anything like that. Every one of them. It's
That was very cool.
Yep, very interesting.
Yep, very interesting. I was almost wondering when we got to that section, if you remember that.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah. Kind of like, you know, a lot of guys use C4s
Right.
in the Mustangs and stuff like that. They're a little tiny tranny, don't take much to turn them, but the problem is the smaller the clutch, the higher the pressure the unit has to be. The bigger the clutch, the less pressure you have to have. You just got so much surface area and stuff. So them little C4s, stuff like that, I mean, it don't take much to wipe them out because the clutches, I bet the clutches, they're smaller than this. I mean, seriously. Okay, we want to get in here and look at this stator really good. It just has a stainless ring on it. It doesn't have a Teflon type high pressure ring, but a stainless ring is better than a steel ring on the stator, okay? There's 2 rings here, one there, one there. You want to look down in here for any type of wear because you have a sealing ring here and here too. Now when we blew air through the case, right here air would come out and it would apply the 3rd gear clutch right here in this drum, and then we have air that will come through here and apply the forward clutch that's hooked to this shaft. So hopefully this pump's good, because these pumps right here are obsolete. I mean, if I have a pump core out there, it'll be a miracle.
It looks special. Did they just grind on it? Is that what I'm seeing there, guys?
If you notice, this is what's funny, guys. Being that it's a trans brake unit, it's funny how somebody come in here with a plate and plug the vent hole. That hole there's for the vent. See that? Yeah. So they made a plate so they could cover that hole. That way it can't vent fluid out the front. That's kind of weird. Wonder if they added it in the case somewhere else. I have to look and see. It's not physically being plugged up totally, because I'm sure air can move under it a little bit, just the way it looks. But they definitely covered that up. Could have been a trick of the trade or something. I don't know. This is what we really want to be good. Want the stator area to be really nice. Definitely want the pump gears to look better. Want the stator to look nice, or the pump body to look nice through here and here. On the outer edges, it still looks really nice. Pump gears, obsolete. So you can see the bluing starting to come off here on the edge here. But we're going to give it a try and see if we can't find some new pump gears. These don't look too bad, really, seriously, but got a little bit of bluing missing. But we definitely want to see if we can't find some new ones and put in there, because the pump is the life of the unit. You just got to know that. If you got a weak pump, you got a weak unit. Actually, I was talking to a friend of mine that they had too much pump clearance and the tranny wasn't working right. Too much clearance between the gears, both up through here. In other words, they had wear here. Anytime you get too much wear, the pump's just weak, top, bottom. Of course, we have our hard band, intermediate band. You can see it's smoked. It's just smoked. That's sad.
Little dinky.
Yep, little dinky. Of course, we have our high gear clutch. Make sure you don't put a wave back in here. Anytime you got a race car application, you definitely want to chunk the waves. Of course, here's our high gear clutch here. 1 clutch, 2 clutch, 3 clutch, 4 clutch, 5 clutch. Now what I did is I ordered some the thinnest steels and clutches that we can find. I got some Alto Reds coming with some coated steels. So we're going to try to get, if we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 5 in here now. Anytime if you can get 6, 2 more, you've accomplished a lot. Anytime you can add 1 clutch even, you've accomplished a lot. So that's why we don't have no third gear. That's why our trans brake don't work. You want to come in here and look in this drum right here where the sealing rings run from your stator. Right in here, you can see it right through here. You want to clean it up. If you don't feel anything with your fingernails or anything, take some Scotch-Brite, clean that up really good. Put you a new bushing in here, new seals down in here, because if we take this apart, the seals are probably cut. Let me see over here. I'll pop this drum apart real quick and just see what we got. So excuse the mess. We have been running. Oops.
Bad boy spring in there.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
This reminds me of the overdrive spring.
Oh yeah, and the Dodges, huh? That's
yeah. Almost
that's
half the spring, but it looks like it's all there.
That's a scary spring.
Yeah.
Almost like this piston's out a little bit or something.
Something wrong with it?
Yeah, like it's not. It's almost like the piston's not all the way down in the case, or in the drum there, excuse me. Can't really tell. See if it cut it. Really shocked that it didn't cut that seal. And then you have another one down in here in this groove.
No.
Didn't cut that one either. Really shocked it didn't. Now when you get your overhaul kit, it could come with long lip seals right here instead of these little short ones.
Now lip here, let me.
The lip is right through here.
There you go. Yep.
And right here. Some of these overhaul kits will come with the lip is longer, which to me is 10 times better. That way any expansion of the drum, that seal will still go out and grab. Now you want to look in here where this inner seal right here runs in here. This looks good. Take some Scotch-Brite and clean this up right here. Scotch-Brite makes a big difference right when you do that to all the aluminum pistons and stuff like that. You can even get down in here if you want to and get some Scotch-Brite and clean this area up through here a little bit too. Make sure your check ball's free. Pretty simple. Now these washers right here are selective. This one and the one on the stator, so you can set your clearances up. You have a sealing ring right here, one I was telling you about, one right here, and another one right here. When you get your overhaul kit, they make multiple years on this unit right here, and the rings are different. So some of the kits will come with all the rings in one package, and you got to pick them out. You never want to break a ring and throw it away. Always take them off, put them to the side. That way you can match them up, because if you ever have a kit here and you accidentally break a ring, where are you going to get another one? It's going to be the ring you have sitting there as a spare, if that ring is good. If it's not, you just got to put it to the side and wait for another day. So, but we have this little washer here, and this back, I guess you call it a race, this washer runs on. This sets down in here like that. This sets down in here, and you can see that little notch. See that little clip right there in the end of that? That little sets on there like that. That way this doesn't spin. This only spins on it. So, pretty simple. Of course, we have our forward clutch here. Now you can see that somebody's been in it before, and this to me is probably a third gear clutch, not so much a forward. You don't really see forward clutches that look like that. On these 904s, all your forward clutches have always looked like that. So they've just done some spacing. There's nothing wrong with putting a third gear clutch in here because it's thicker. That way they can get their clearances right. Flat snap ring there. This would be a wavy snap ring. And then you have your bevel plate. And then you have your piston. Now if you notice, this piston here has long lip seals on it already. Now you got to remember, when you put this in, you can get a feeler gauge in here and work that around. This one here you cannot, because this covers it. See how much harder? You can't get a feeler gauge in there. So this shortcut seal, they use it to get down in here through this bevel right here. But some of the kits do come with a little bit longer ones, and you can put grease in there, and you can take this and kind of just shake it and work it, and it'll fall down in there. You don't want to tap it with a hammer or nothing like that. And then you have another seal here in the inner, still long cut. So just remember that. I'm so used to doing the Dodge diesels and stuff that they have two seals in there that look just alike, and you can get them mixed up. There we go. Okay, now we have our forward planet here. This snap ring right here holds them together, and when you take it apart, you want to look at this stuff right through here.
Oh man.
See how that's wore plumb out?
Yes, sir.
This here's wore plumb out too.
Oh, yep. Yep.
See? Now, this is kind of different. This is kind of, like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Done millions of them, but still. You know, sometimes we can have a 4-tab washer in here, and with this one here, the planet is the washer itself.
Okay, kind of old school.
Old school, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I got to look, and there's no room for a washer under there, especially when you put this back in there for the snap ring to go in.
Okay, yeah.
So it definitely runs a planet to inner race there. But if it was good, just check all your planets on your gears here, make sure no chipping, anything like that. But unfortunately, the planet's got to be replaced. The outer ring gear looks good, but the inner piece is no good too. This piece here is no good. Now these, I believe, are selective. You can get them different thicknesses too, possibly. Of course, we have a 4-tab washer here. Sets under here like that. Of course, it runs down here like that. Then you're going to have another one here. that runs down on your lower planetary. Of course, here, this planet here runs against the race 2. The planet is the washer. There's no washer in between them like here.
Man, that's amazing that stuff took that back in the day.
Mm-hmm. That's some early stuff.
Some early stuff.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, heck, I don't think I've seen 10 years since one of these walked in the door. You just don't see this.
You don't see it anymore, But it's nothing new, let me tell you. Same way here, if you, your reverse band runs on here and your lower reverse band, it's called 2 different things. But if you notice here, see all that aluminum buildup in there?
Mm-hmm.
How it's melted, something's melted right through there.
Yes, sir.
And it started attaching it. This is steel, the support is aluminum. So what happens is, anytime your cooler flow gets restricted, or it just is so hot, your rear cooler line right here is your return oil coming from your cooler. So if your tranny's just getting so hot, that fluid comes through here, I mean, it doesn't lubricate nothing at all. It just melts it. So let me see if I can get this shaft out. Oh my gosh. So I wasn't expecting all the damage here.
And I explained in the R&R videos what that cooler was and how bad it was.
How bad it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Customer didn't know.
Right. Now you notice I talked about how the governor not working no more. What they do, they leave it on here for balancing too. I mean, you got these big old weights. You could take it off possibly, but you see a hole cut out here in the parking ring gear and stuff like that. So I would leave it all on too. That way you know there's no way there's could any harmonics out of this shaft spinning or anything like that. So, but if you notice here, the 2 sealing rings are gone. For your governor to even work, they left them off. Because normally you can see here where the pattern where the rings were running. See? So, but anyway, you can also see where this shaft started getting melted to the center support. Let's get this center support off. And luckily it's coming apart and we're not having to beat it apart.
No joke.
That's a plus. But you know, finding these pieces like this stuff is really getting hard to find. My parts guy tells me, Richard, quit taking this stuff in. But anyway, you can see here how it's already started to melt it. And that's because not so much the filter plugged up, because the filter was perfectly clean. That tells you it's still flowing fluid. It's just that this thing got so hot, started boiling the fluid, leaking out the front. And then once he got it low on fluid, then here we go with clutches burning, pieces melting, there's no cooler flow no more. So this piece here is trashed. Now what we can do, this piece here, I can come in here and hone this a little bit and see if we can knock that aluminum off there and still have a nice smooth machine surface right through here. If we can, we'll use this again. If we can't, then this piece is junk too. So, I mean, there's a lot to these that people don't realize. I just lost third gear. You know, I think it's a simple fix, but let me tell you, there's a lot to these units. A lot to, especially when you get them old like this. So, let's see here. I don't see no vents drilled into the case. Now you can see here, this unit's probably had a sprag blow up on it before, or they just updated this sprag assembly to an aftermarket performance style. So this whole race piece here has been replaced. You can see here the aftermarket bolts coming through here, and then you can see a stud that they even used too here, the nut. So I wish they'd make a good one for the 48 REs, because we see a lot of them come in that's almost trashed, and I mean, we struggle putting them back together sometimes. We got a really cool way we do them now though. The intermediate, there's no spring behind it at all. Very little, and that's a no-no. Let me tell you, people don't realize, like look right here, I can push this down with just barely any force. Well, that tells you how much spring pressure is there holding that second gear band off, okay? So if you get any type of cross leak anywhere in this system, that band can come on all by itself, even before it wasn't even commanded. Because they put this cheap, stupid spring in here, excuse my language. you need to at least leave a spring in there that's got enough tension to keep any type of cross leak off here. Because all transmissions have cross leaks. It's just what it's about. I mean, you can't seal them all up totally. I mean, so we definitely got to get a bigger spring in here. And the bigger spring will not hurt the intermediate shift. I mean, you're already applying it with max pressure. I'm sure that trans brake has got max pressure on this unit anyway, probably 190, 200 PSI. So you want something different. But we got springs back there. We can fix that. Just remember, that's a no-no. Don't take all your springs out. You got to have something holding that off. Of course, we have our reverse servo here. Some of them come with a stronger spring here too sometimes. And you got your seal, long lip. This seal here feels pretty hard. I feel like I could break it.
Been on there well.
Yeah. But your overhaul kit will have all that stuff. You know, what's crazy too is, let's see if this is blocked, if I can push something. Yeah. We like to put a spacer blocker in here where the spring is just for looks. You can take the spring out, throw it away. We want this solid. That way when you shift it to second gear, this band, no more than it moves, it's off. We don't want this spring to relax the band off. We want it to no more than it moves, it's off. So we'll take this apart, take the spring out, block this where it's solid. It's got a big old stall converter in it anyway. You ain't going to get no harsh reverse out of it, so it doesn't matter. But in a manual shift situation, we want you just think who would win if this band stayed on just a millisecond when you shift it. This band comes off when you shift it to second. This one comes on. This one's burning up. This one's not. But if this doesn't release quick enough, this band comes on faster. Then here we have this bind up feeling. So and then one of these bands are going to lose. But I think a lot of this band issue could have been low on fluid. It could have been multiple things. But this is a no-no. So, well, anyway, guys, 904, 60, what we say, 69 Plymouth Valiant. Really cool car. So we'll get this back together for him. We got a ton of parts to hunt up. Trent, you know, we always appreciate you helping us out too. Mama's at home today. I don't know what she's doing. I think she's on the vacuum cleaner or something. I'm sure she's a house cleaning. I mean, she does a lot of house cleaning. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe. Push that notification bell because we have a lot more to come. Y'all have a great day.